We're going to be going over one of the biggest inconsistencies within Clash Mini right now, and also talking about my balance change wish list for the month of September, right before Pink Fairy releases. So let's start by talking about the inconsistency that is a huge issue in Clash Mini right now, and that is going to be the Clash abilities. If you're not aware, there is a feature in the game that is called True Blue and True Red, or Home Field and Away Field, and essentially you probably don't know what this is unless you're a hardcore player, because it's not identifiable. There's no way to tell whether you are True Blue and True Red. Now you're probably wondering, what is the big deal with this? Well, consistencies of Clash abilities is determined by which side you are, whether you're True Blue or True Red. And there's currently no way to identify which side you are, which means it's impossible to know if your Clash ability is going to even work how it's supposed to. And this is a huge issue. True Blue and True Red should not impact Clash abilities at all. It is very unfair and confusing that interactions can change on an RNG mechanic that's not even identifiable by players. This is something that only core players will know, and not all casual players will even fully understand the concept of True Blue and True Red. So the current way the Clash abilities flows in terms of activation is Monk equals Grand Warden equals Wizard, which is greater than Prince and Wavemaster, which is greater than Fisherman and Shield Maiden, which is greater than all others. Now, this is confusing because Monk is something in this first row, Monk, Grand Warden, and Ice Wizard. What is the outlier? Ice Wizard. Ice Wizard is the only unit in there that is not a hero. Monk and Grand Warden are heroes. In my opinion, Monk, the whole part of Monk's kit should be the very first thing, right? Monk should be the very first thing to activate. It doesn't even affect heroes. It only impacts minis. A major part of the Monk's current kit is that it shuts down abilities with its silence. And it can't even stop the Ice Wizard. It can't stop the Pekka Unstoppable. So, what's the point of having that feature in a Monk when it's not even counterable, or it can't even counter two minis? So, in my opinion, Monk either needs to be reworked where it doesn't fully rely on this Clash ability, or it needs to be able to stop every mini in the game. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. But there's also a huge amount of inconsistencies with how currently Wavemaster throws Bandit, and then bowler interactions can be different within the same exact match. I'm going to show an example on screen over here. I saw this and it was round 3, 4, and 5, and I was like, how can something have so many inconsistent interactions in the exact same game? It is extremely frustrating, and something like that should never happen. Especially in an auto battler game, you should be able to have consistency, and even in one where you can't change your placement, because once a troop is placed, you cannot move it. So if there's inconsistencies with how Clash abilities work, then that just doesn't make sense. Now, I've already had this conversation with the Clash Mini team, so I just wanted to talk about it in this video to address it to you guys, the community, so that you guys are updated on this situation. So the team knows this is a big issue. We've talked about it with the team. They're working on potential fixes. We're going through different things, which obviously I can't talk about, but once I am able to talk about it, I will. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn that notification bell, so you don't miss any new update information for Clash Mini. Next, we're going to be talking about the balance change wish list that I have for the month of September. Let me know what you think of these changes down in the comment section below, and if there's anything you would add, remove, or change about the specific changes that I requested. I want to engage with you guys. I love engaging with you guys on topics like this, so let's talk about this together. But here's my thoughts for balance change wish list. So first off, Wavemaster. I'd like to have Wavemaster's Chaos Lover ability reduce at level 2 and 3 to +1 energy, and reduce its level 4 to +8 shield from +10 shield. So currently one of the biggest issues with Wavemaster is that when it throws, the unit that it's throwing gains a lot of energy. And one of the greatest synergies with Wavemaster that we've seen kind of before Wavemaster was switched to this shield and energy buff was the fact that Giant Skeleton was thrown. And now obviously for Giant Skeleton, you want it to die as quickly as possible so it can get its bomb off, right? So why is adding shield a good thing? So I think in that sense, to have it kind of consistent with the guard almost, I think +8 shield is good because then it kind of brings that giant skeleton wave master synergy back into the meta, but also then reducing the energy cost will maybe help the overwhelmingness of Bandit Wave Master or Swordsman Wave Master and things like that. So I think that's a pretty good balance for Wave Master. For Natureborn, I think the Forest's power ability just reduced the level 3 and 4 in the deer form to +1 second from +2 seconds. This way it's an overall 2-second nerf to how long the attack buff lasts. And I think this will help kind of tone Natureborn down in her melee form because she's really strong right now. Next up for the Skeleton King, this one's a little bit interesting. Some people say Skeleton King is the worst hero in the game. I don't think he's that bad, but this is a change that I would make. I was looking through his numbers, and the revive is actually very inconsistent with how much health he has. He currently gains 14 HP per soul when you're at max level, and his max HP is 45, and that math doesn't line up properly. So I was thinking increasing its base HP to 48, and then reduce the level 3 and 4 to +1 HP per soul, so it gains less health on the resurrection, depending on how many souls it has, of course, but then it gains more health as it's alive, like as it starts with. And then this will kind of line it up with the fact that it takes 4 souls to come back at max level, and that is going to be consistent for all of its time. It'll just be 4 souls, max level, it comes back full health. So kind of take from the revive and give to the first life. Let me know what you think of that. For Royal Champion, this is a really simple change. I'd just like to see her base attack speed increase by 0.1. Currently, she's sitting at a 0.9 at max level, so just bump it up to 1. I don't know if this is going to make Royal Champion overpowered or anything, but right now she seems okay. Maybe a little bit on the weaker side. It feels like she can't really do as much by herself, which she's a ranged unit. She deals a lot of damage, so like it's fine. But maybe I'd like to see a little bit of a quicker attack speed, so that way she can have at least some chance if it's just her remaining. Because, I mean, she is a hero. She should be able to do some pretty good things. And right now, compared to Archer Queen has really good survivability with the Invisible. World Champion doesn't really have much, and the stun is not so great. So I could see the stun being increased from her shield, but I feel like that would make her too strong. So I'd just like to see a base attack speed increase, and I think that might make her pretty good. And then for the Shield Maiden, I'd like to see her get a completely new third ability. This is something I talked about a while back, and somebody even featured it on a Reddit post talking about this ability that I said, and I completely forgot I said it until I saw that Reddit post. But essentially, I'd like to see Shield Maiden have a new third ability called Guardian Angel. And I feel like the whole premise of Shield Maiden is she provides shields. She protects the army. So like she has this area of effect where she halves the attack of the people she's able to hit with her clash ability. Then when she pops her super, she taunts everybody and has the entire enemy army attack her. So what else could you do to kind of bring heroicness to the Shield Maiden is give her an ability called Guardian Angel at level 1, so the base level. It'll grant all allies 2 shield while the Shield Maiden casts her super. So when the Shield Maiden casts her super, every ally that's alive automatically 2 shield. Level 2, +1 shield. Level 3, +1 shield. Level 4, Guardian Angel also will trigger on KO. So not only during the super, but also the Guardian Angel will trigger on KO. So basically, every time Guardian Angel triggers at max level, whether it's from the super or the KO, it'll grant all nearby allies 4 shield. I don't know if this is going to be too overpowered, but I feel like this ability makes more sense than her just getting energy. I don't know. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below, but I think this would be a pretty unique mechanic for the Shield Maiden. Next up for the Archer Queen, just a little bit of a nerf here. I'd like to kind of see her hit speed for rapid fire decrease a little bit. So right now she gets a 50% hit speed increase. I would just like to change that. So right now her base level is +20%, and then everything is +10, +10, +10. So I'd like to change that level 1 to 30% and then make everything +5, +5, +5, which means it's a 45% hit speed increase instead of a 50% hit speed increase. So I don't know if that 5% is really going to make a difference. Maybe it doesn't. it's hard to tell without like testing it, but I think that might be a pretty good change for the Archer Queen and make her a little bit more bearable to deal with. For the Dagger Goblin, I'd like to see the Dagger Goblin's base HP increase to 15. This will give him an overall +5 attack HP buff, which I think will be really good for Dagger Goblin because he just feels really squishy right now. And then maybe change the invisible duration to 3 seconds. Right now it's only 2 seconds. Maybe change it to 3 seconds. That way it kind of gives the enemy units time to like refocus and recalibrate on another unit. And that way it'll bring the Dagger Goblin kind of back into the battle. So those are the changes I'd like to see for Dagger Goblin. Musketeer, I'd like to see its 3rd star change back to Clash. Right now it's a -1 energy requirement to get super. I just want to see the Musketeer get that Clash ability off, like for the Sunshot, the snipe right at the start. I'd like to see her just push back immediately and kind of reposition at the start of the battle. I think that would be a really cool concept for Musketeer. Next up for the Swordsman, I really think Swordsman's not meta right now because Bandit Wavemaster is just such an oppressive combo. And once that gets changed, Swordsman is going to be extremely strong. I just know it. I really hope that they reduce the damage per strike down to 3. Right now it's currently at 4. So when the Swordsman has that 3rd star ability, it's no, the 1st star ability. I was right the first time. The 1st star ability where it adds 3 strikes to its super, 8 total. It currently deals 32 damage, 8 times 4, 32. I would like to see that bring down to 3 damage so that it deals 24 damage instead of 32. So this way, 24 damage to 1 unit is still a lot. It doesn't need to deal 32 damage to a single unit. I don't know. I'd like to see the Swordsman nerfed just a little bit. Let me know what you guys think of that. For the Valkyrie, I just want to see a base hit speed increase to 0.45, just a 0.05 hit speed increase, that's all. For the Prince, I'd like to see its 2nd star victory helmet reduced to 4 seconds from 5 seconds. I think its times to attack lasts a little bit too long, so just reduce that by 1 second. The Pekka, I'd like to see Unstoppable reduced to 8 seconds from 10 seconds. I think other than that, the Pekka feels fine. It just feels like she's unstoppable for far too long, and she's just able to start wiping your entire army out. So I think some of the control effects should be able to affect the Pekka sooner. So I think just tweaking that Unstoppable a little bit is what she needs to not be as dominant. Magic Archer, I called for this in the last balance change wish list. They did nerf its HP a little bit, but I still think the Magic Archer is really strong, so I'd like to see its base attack reduced to 3 from 4. For the Battle Healer, this one's really interesting. I'd like to give it a new 3rd ability called Overflow, and instead of granting +1 energy on the super, I would like to see it grant plus 10% hit speed to any enemies that overheal. So the overheal effect that we get from Natureborn, where on deer form it grants ×2 attack, or in the human form it grants extra energy. For the Battle Healer, I'd like to see her grant hit speed. This will kind of make Battle Healer unique in a sense that she's more required in a deck, right? And I think for the best synergies with Battle Healer right now, she definitely pairs better with Monk and Shield Maiden. So being able to grant that like plus 10 hit speed on overheals kind of adds some value to her as a unit, because she just feels a little bit underwhelming right now. So give her something unique to kind of make her stand out. For the Electro Wizard, I think the Electro Wizard's a little bit too strong, especially when paired with Natureborn. I'd like to see its base ability Zap only zap 2 enemies instead of 3. So this way, when Ewiz gets that first upgrade, it'll stun 4 enemies instead of 5 like it currently is. So just kind of take 1 enemy off its target list. And last but not least, I would like to see a nerf to the Bandit. I think Bandit got pretty strong with this past update. So I'd like to see Derive Hard with only +1 energy absorb instead of +2. Right now she absorbs 4 energy on a super, which is a lot. Maybe reduce that to +3. And she won't be able to change supers as much. I think that's a huge thing. That way it doesn't also nerf her at her base. It kind of just nerfs her 1-star upgrade. And then I'd also like to see its 2nd-star upgrade Daze reduced back to 2 seconds. I think 3 seconds is way too long of a stun time for the Bandit, especially when it's able to change supers, dash around. It basically stuns your entire army with how quickly it's getting supers and dashing around. It's too overwhelming. It's too oppressive. I think it needs to be nerfed just a little bit. Honestly, these nerfs aren't like anything crazy. It's still at max level. It'll still stun for 2 seconds after a super. It'll still absorb 3 energy from a super. it's not killing the bandit, in my opinion. It's just toning it down a little bit, so that way it's not able to chain supers and just completely wreck your entire army and not let them get any supers off at all. So let me know what you think of these balance changes down in the comment section below. What would you change, and would you like these balance changes if they were implemented?